From the garage that sparked a global self-care movement, welcome to the Human Garage Experience, a podcast where we have unfiltered conversations on self-healing, consciousness, and optimizing your life with fascinating individuals changing the status quo. I'm your host, Aaron Mathias, and I'm excited you're here.
Peter, nice to meet you.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. Hey, do you want to do something with me really quick before we officially I know we're rolling.
It sounds as though you're going to expose some shortcomings, but yes.
No, not at all. This is actually kind of fun. So usually before we have even meetings with each other, like in Human Garage, or sometimes before we all break bread when we're touring and stuff like that, we do what's called like a sync up.
Okay.
So it just kind of like syncs our energy. It's really simple. We can even do it here.
Yeah.
So take your right leg, kind of give it a little cross over your left.
Okay.
And then take your right arm, kind of latch under there. And then your left hand just go on your shoulder.
Okay. The other right.
Yeah. And then just give yourself a twist. So then look your head off to the left over your left shoulder. Give yourself a little twist. And we're going to take 6 breaths together. We're going to do 3 purposefully through our mouth and then 3 through our nose. So we'll do the first one now. Number 1. I'll try not to breathe it right in the mic so it's creepy. Number 3. And you can just kind of keep twisting yourself too as you do it. And then through the nose. One more. And then we usually make eye contact after.
Okay. Feel like a new man.
Ready to run some laps.
Yeah.
Okay. So the most pressing question, I think, to start this off is, who designed your fashion sense? Every time I've seen you in almost any talk, any video, anywhere, you always have this impeccable flow and style.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think it's in terms of actually designing it, I mean, different friend of mine, Greg Laron, I actually just found these shoes recently in a shop in Mallorca. Mm-hmm. And then the shirt I think I got in Ibiza. But I love fashion. I've always enjoyed having a bit of style. Yeah. My partner has added to that and sort of knocked it up a notch. But it's fun, and it's always nice to get that feedback too. So thank you.
Yeah. I was like, every single video is impeccably perfectly done. It's he's got to have a great stylist. I need to hire that for myself. Got my t-shirt and jeans. But
it's just fun. It's another form of expression, you know. So I enjoy just. And also, I'm getting educated again by my partner in terms of the materials themselves. You know, you work with fascia, which sort of holds all of the musculoskeletal system together, but our clothes are sort of an extension of us, sit on our skin. And so I'm not quite there yet, but trying to implement as many natural fibers as I can.
Yeah. We're on a huge quest of hey, cotton, linen.
Yeah.
Stay away from the polyesters. Because it's just energetically and frequency wise, it tends to, or we see with people when they make that shift.
Yeah.
Maybe probably, I don't know if you could scientifically track the changes that have happened, but you see just a change in their disposition.
For sure.
Over time, especially as they release it, because it feels good, I think, on the body too.
Yeah, and it's not just on the person's body, but it's the implications and the ramifications of the industry itself, right?
Yeah.
Just the huge amount of waste and toxicity and chemicals, and it's been a learning curve for me.
So when I've been super curious too, in kind of watching you talk, and I'm familiar even with all of your work. I love it.
Thank you.
Personally, it's exciting to watch, because I think you're probably the most articulate person I've seen on dictating these concepts.
Yeah.
From people collecting trauma, from people dealing with their beliefs, even down to the language that they use in the formation of that. But I've been super curious of and if you're open to this idea of kind of going back of where that really kicked off. I know you had some really intense childhood experiences.
Yeah.
I'd be super curious kind of on that origin of where did those instances with your mother passing, things like that, was that the initial kickoff point for you on these exploration journeys?
Probably. I mean, at the time, obviously not consciously, especially my mom, I was only 7. So, without getting too esoteric out of the gate, I guess as a soul, I incarnated to have those experiences. So at some point it was all predestined, but from the superficial / subjective experience of me, Pisa, having my mum die, I was just going through grief, confusion, fear, the normal human experiences. I think then when my dad passed 10 years later, the narrative of loss and attachment started to kick in, sort of very strong sense of independence, like it's all up to me, started to really get formed. So they were definitely formative, but not in a way that I could ever say I was conscious of at the time. But looking back, I think there's a couple of things that sort of now I recognize, like when I look at my friends whose parents are getting older and maybe struggling with health, and they're in hospice, or they need to be taken to the hospital, or they've got doctor's appointments and they keep forgetting to take medication. All of the things that come with that sort of return cycle of a parent taking care of a child to a child now taking care of the parent. I realized at some level, okay, it's horrific and I miss my parents, but at the same time, I don't have to deal with that care now. So it's sort of interesting that I also, as part of my main narrative is freedom, right? Like that's my main product. So at some level, it's interesting how me being so committed to freedom has also manifested even in my family, where I don't feel that obligatory kind of pull or tension. So I think it formed, in many ways, it's informed who I've become and what I speak to.
Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting idea of like finding a freedom of like, well, now that they're older, I don't have to, like, because my father is 81.
Yeah.
And my mom's 74. And like, it's one of the biggest things on my mind.
Yeah.
Consistently, actually, is like, how am I going to encounter as they become less able?
Yeah.
Not able to even like, do simple tasks. They're both pretty active now, but I mean, the weight of it freaks me out sometimes.
No doubt, because it's not just the concern of like you being a care provider or making sure they're okay or trying to make sure that they eat well, move, stay strong, all of the things, right? Sarcopenia being one of the biggest contributors to death, right? Where in your world, people become weak, they lose balance and integrity in their joints. So, but then also you still got to encounter the grief of, it's out sounding blunt, they're going to die at some point.
Yeah. It's just coming around the corner for all.
Call it how it is. You know? It's like none of us are getting out of here alive. So, at some level, I guess I dealt with that at a very early age. It's not to say that now I'm not going to have people that I love or care about who aren't going to suffer or aren't going to die. But it's interesting in these different forms of love. Like, love with family is sort of so entrenched in this obligatory form of dedication, commitment, attachment. And so, I feel for a lot of my friends who are just both sad, but also frustrated and stressed. And so at least in the domain of mum and dad, I guess I don't have to deal with that.
Do you feel that, so there's obligatory feelings of like, oh, I'm supposed to love this person, or I'm supposed to care about them, or I should. But do you find in yourself right now do you feel, I guess, love towards people or that kind of sorrow in the exact same way?
Love and what? Sorrow?
Or say even like feeling sadness for somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, do you, since you've done so much work and kind of like playing around this, do you feel it in the way the same that most people do, where it takes them out of commission, or do you find that it just moves through you in a different way?
Yeah, I think I'd say the latter of the question moves through me in a way that I feel love. If it's true love, there's no attachment to anything, right? Like it's sort of a full embrace and being in harmony with the way life is. So it extends beyond any kind of personified love of I love you or I love them. And it's sort of just embodying love itself, which is to me synonymous with freedom or peace or relief and just being okay with the way things are. So I would assert if I'm ever in a state of frustration, sorrow, or have a human emotion, it's kind of the absence of love, ironically. So to me, real love is being okay with everything. So that's why I say it's sort of synonymous with peace.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, because if you were ultimately in that state of love, which is kind of an openness, or at least when I feel that, I feel indestructible, like I could take care of anything, even when I'm in that state, more so something that's even sad happening. It seems like I can, even though I perceive it as sad, it doesn't sway me in the same way.
Right.
Like I recognize it as maybe what the actual problem or situation is.
Yeah, and you're able to be with it, right? Like, meaning it doesn't affect your inner terrain. You don't become emotional. You don't get frustrated. You don't have some sort of more negative type of emotion, right? There's the absence of resistance, basically. So I think love is synonymous with just being in complete harmony and alignment with the way things are, ultimately. Which I think everyone's looking for, even here, right, at this event, right?
Yeah, the whole thing is built on that, yeah.
It's based on the premise, ultimately, that maybe there's something wrong with you and we've got the solution to make you feel better. And to a certain degree, that can help, right? Like, I'm sure there's many products, yours included, that do make a difference. My invitation is for people to look at a deeper level and see, okay, you can work on yourself physically with fascia, drinks, peptides, hyperbaric, all of that.
Yeah.
But if you don't find that inner peace, then you're just going to be like whack-a-mole, looking for the next thing that will hopefully garner sufficient amount of relief so that you can actually fall in love, right? Not with someone, but the essence of love itself. Like, relax and become so unattached to life and how it's supposed to be that in that acquiescence, you fall into love.
I mean, that made me start to feel even emotional, you saying it, because I was thinking of so many people that we encounter.
Yeah.
And this, I think, would be a really powerful message of what you even just said to them is, right, they are searching, they come and find a movement, which is great because, hey, it's releasing stored energy, it's releasing trauma. But then I think sometimes people, or I've witnessed people even getting like, I've got to go do that movement. I've got to go do that maneuver. And there still seems to be all this, a bit of layer of still grasping, I would call it, or tension behind it.
Yeah.
So in those cases, what would you say to a person like that who's entered that journey?
Breathe.
Yeah.
Take a breath. I remember when I first got into my work, there were two words that occurred to me with almost every dysfunction, disharmony, discontent experience of life, and it was slow down. Right? So, because if you think about it, whatever there is as a form of unrest, discontent, not wanting of something or wanting of something you don't have, like wanting as a desire creates time. Right? Subtle, right? But you see it. So, and as soon as you create time psychologically, you create a rift or you create stress. Because if you're wanting something, you don't have it. So subtly, and maybe not so subtle for a lot of people, you're saying where I'm at is not it. So if this isn't it, you instantaneously have to create suffering. However mild, and sometimes it's severe, right? It could be, this isn't it, I got to lose 5 pounds. You're going to be okay, but you're still a little unhappy, shall we say.
Yeah.
This isn't it, my mom just got diagnosed with cancer. More resistance. That's worse, this isn't it, right? But ultimately, when you look at it just through the lens of actual physics, it's literally impossible to be anywhere other than where you are. The degree to which we as humans resist that is suffering. And then it will manifest in all sorts of the myriad of ways it can, right? So increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, increased respiratory rate, tension in the fascia, inability to digest your food, lack of nourishment of your tissues, right? Poor bowel movements, right? Lack of sleep.
Yeah.
And then that cascade of all of the dysfunctions become the impetus for us then to seek whatever it is we can to solve the sleep, the skin, the digestion, right? But if you just like chill out for a minute, like it's the medical term.
Yeah. Can chill out.
Yeah.
Here's your prescription.
Here's the prescription. Slow down and breathe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And again, I don't mean to be blasé, but there's there's a lot to be found in that.
Yeah. And it's almost kind of like a whole, it would eliminate whole entire conferences.
Yeah, I might not be invited back after my talk.
By the way, Peter Crone says, just breathe, chill out. You don't
security, get Peter Crone off stage right now. Run. Sales are dropping as he speaks.
As he speaks, our supplements are not, are not moving.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty amazing. People descend from the ceiling. We need supplement sales because it is. I mean, what you're saying though is so. I mean, I find spot on because it's been interesting to watch always because it's trying to walk that balance of like, hey, this is a tool to move you on a pathway, take some of the tension off you to find your way back to your home, which is love, that space. But it's again, I think a lot of times people don't have either maybe the frameworks or the training, or even maybe a mindset to not seek that space, but be that simple. I think that there has to be some other thing. And I think with all the brilliant marketing that exists, if you've got that, if you don't take this, you're gonna
And then
even from the holistic world, that marketing's the same way.
And wait, there's more. You know, much of my background is in the world of Ayurveda, which is steeped in 5,000-6,000 years of wisdom, and it's phenomenal. It makes Western healthcare, which is sick care and disease management, nothing to do with health, look like child's play because they recognize what it is to create natural alignment with your own constitution and life. But even that has become sort of manipulated by an allopathic approach, right? So if you understand, oh, well, you're Vata or you're Pitta, then you need, to have Dashmula and Shatavari and Ashwagandha, and you need to have turmeric and Manjista, but it becomes like another prescription thing. So instead of giving someone, an allopathic pharmaceutical drug, you're substituting it for a herb or a diet, which it's better.
Yeah.
But it's still sort of, because we're so conditioned to think there's something wrong with us, that we need to do something. And it's so inbuilt, and the longer that we go through life with that underlying thesis, then the more actually we drift away from our true nature, which is there's nothing wrong. But you try and convince a human being there's nothing wrong with them, you're going to get into an argument. That's how much they want to defend their shortcomings.
What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with you. What?
How dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you tell me I'm fine?
I've got this list. And I'm checking it twice, and this is the top 10.
And I've got 3 doctors, and they're great doctors.
Yeah. And I'm
highly referred.
My functional medicine doctor is the best in the entire world, and his team. And it's strange that it goes into that actually.
There's a great distinction in Ayurveda where they say the greatest Vajra is the term used for a practitioner.
Okay.
Is the one that doesn't have any patients, like meaning, not patients, but no customers, right?
Yeah.
Because he's educated his community on how to stay healthy and be in alignment with their constitution, where in the West, it's like, who's the greatest doctor? Who does everyone go and see?
Yeah. Can I go to yours? Can I get, can you?
How good could he be if everyone's going to see him or her?
It's so wild.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny to actually, when you think about it, really step back and look at it. It's like, it's another layer of comedy layered upon.
Yeah.
Because people move from the say more pharmaceutical based idea, then they move into, like, they almost kind of go in stages of pharmaceutical. Now I'm in the health and wellness space. Now I'm into organics. Now I'm into this, but it's another level of still prescription still everywhere.
Yeah.
So did you have a breakaway point? Since you started in the Ayurvedic, did you have like some point, like where was the bridge, I guess? What I'm interested in, where's that bridge of where you started getting more into this way of looking at the world? Like what kicked that off? And you maybe started to move away from that prescription-based.
Yeah, I mean, I never applied Ayurveda through the prescription lens because I understood what it was about. I just saw so many people, because it was never really part of my business as a practice. It was sort of a supplement or a complement to what I was working on psychologically and subconsciously. So it was really just a means of giving people a bit more education about their vehicle. Like you have a tendency to run cold, you run hot, you tend to be stagnant. Like, so just know that, and then you can accordingly customize your life and diet just to help. That's it. I was never in a position to want to, create formulaic ingredients of herbs and like a doctor might. So, but there was definitely a breakaway point for me where I had been in a relationship and I was still caught in my narrative of loss without knowing I was in it. So life presented the girl leaving me so that I went into my sort of grief and sadness and suffering. And then, it was pretty quick, but it still took 6 to 8 weeks where I went through, woe is me, and couldn't sleep. And I was like having all these questions about, am I going to see her again? Where is she? She met someone better, to help me feel inadequate.
Yeah. It's funny how those come up, right? Those questions of like, oh, she's going to get something. It's like,
So that was the big, at least to start opening the floodgates in a very dramatic way, meaning in a way that I'd never seen before, because that's when I realized that the very nature of life is uncertainty. And until that moment, I hadn't seen that. And I, like every other human being, was always trying to figure out how to make it survive, get to where I had to get to, avoid what I didn't want. Just basically constantly in my head as it relates to a view of a future that was either not what I wanted, so avoidance, or what I wanted, force and dominance, right? And when I saw that, the initial response was like, if anyone was measuring my vitals at the time, like they would have thought it was two different people.
Wow.
Because it was so dramatic, like you're not going to see anything, but how I felt in terms of my internal signs, I felt like I was almost floating when I walked out of my apartment at the time. Like I felt so light and so free, and there was nothing to worry about. Whereas literally, in that case, 15, 20 minutes before, I was like trying to figure out my entire life. It's like white knuckling, but mentally and emotionally. So that really started this new pursuit as mind architecture and liberating souls.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. We're so excited to have you here. Remember, if you haven't done so already, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, subscribe, and follow the Human Garage Experience Instagram channel to stay tuned and watch out for the next guest coming up. And if you haven't done so already and you really want to dive deeply into this work, grab onto the 28-day reset. This will completely transform and change your life. I know that's a big, but it will. It will change your life. Click the link down in the bio below, and may your life never be the same.
So it's good that happened then, essentially.
I mean, I was grateful.
Yeah.
I mean, just based on the number of people that show up and come to my things, it seems to be making a difference, which is nice.
There's just a few people that show up to these things. Which is amazing.
Yeah.
But did you follow like any particular type of, I hate to use the word, but like guru that like you were super drawn to? Because I've heard people wrestle like Krishnamurti and these kind of ideas.
Yeah.
Right. And I went down a rabbit hole for a long time of I'm going to say his name completely wrong. So
that's okay.
Nisargadatta Maharaj.
Yeah.
Who was like all the, netty.
He's one of my favorites. Yeah.
But I did it to a point where I almost got like nihilistic and like kind of like, oh, nothing matters.
Yeah.
I went kind of into that zone of it for a while because I was like, well, this is not what it,
Yeah.
Nothing is nothing. Did you kind of go on a similar journey of that, or did you?
I did. I never got to that point of just like eradicating and writing off everything, because I just love life too much. So I was still like a pursuant of my dreams, aspirations, prolifically creative all the time. But it was just without that underlying sense of, have to, need. It was for pure exploration's sake versus me trying to seek something as a compensation for something else, right? Two very distinct energies.
Yeah.
So a kid isn't necessarily looking for something in order to compensate for something else. If they're playing a game of cowboys and Indians, a kid will just pick up whatever the nearest stick is, and that's the best gun he's ever had, right? When you're an adult, you have to find the specific stick. You have to subscribe to Cowboys and Indians monthly magazine, and who's, what kind of bark is the best.
Are these the right boots I'm wearing?
Right, exactly.
That's my cowboy hat, the style.
So the kid is just, I'm in it. Let's play. An adult has to think everything through in terms of like, how am I going to look in this particular situation? So I never got to that point of just writing it all off because I just wanted to play. I've always said my sort of triumvirate of commitment in life is to keep the body as best as I can of a 20-something-year-old athlete, to have the mind of a wise old sage, but to keep the heart of a child.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do the best I can, and my body's going to go through its own ebbs and flows of, it's been a busy few weeks. I'm probably low on sleep, probably a little dehydrated, haven't been eating the kind of food that I like. But if I was in my mind about that, now not only do I have the physiological sort of, the deficiencies, but now I've got stress on top of it.
Yeah.
Versus like, okay, I'm a little tired. Whoop-de-doo, right? I'm not the first human being probably to experience that. I'll get over it. So it's like, so it's just like to be able to know that I'm where I'm at without resistance, and then just be responsible for when I have time or I have resources like my home and people who help me with food, and then I'll get back on track.
Mm-hmm.
So that to me, so that's why I never got to this place of just complete eradication of, this diet and this, like it just becomes too military, and I'm Virgo, so I would have a tendency to want to get everything perfect, which I did many years ago. And I've learned to just sort of soften the edges of that whilst remaining committed and disciplined, right? And so I think there's a balance of, yes, I've met many people who are just inspirational in their dedication, but they don't seem very happy. Right. And then you've got people who are completely other spectrum, have no dedication, no discipline, they're completely irresponsible. And then they wonder why they're getting sick, they're, getting beat to shit because they slept with the wrong person, or they're getting called from the bank because they don't have any money, or, whatever it is. Like, so I think there's a sweet spot, which is, be responsible. For me, optimize as much of your life as you can, but know you're still human and you're not going to get it perfect, and that's okay.
That's a key word, is okay.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say that, I think. Hey, it's okay. Because then it's like the mind wants to go into, well, no, it's not okay actually, because now this is going to happen, that's going to happen, this other thing.
Yeah, which goes back to what I said earlier, which is people think that where they are is not it. Right?
Yeah.
And if this isn't it, if that's the lens, and again, these are lenses that people can't see, right? We typically think of a lens as here.
Yeah.
Where you put on a lens. Here you put on blue blocking lenses for sure, right?
Well, you have to have the right color. You have to have the amber.
Yeah, for the day.
It's day, and then
which is fine, and I'm sure, and it helps. I've tried it.
Yeah.
But what the lens I'm talking about is the lens that's behind the eyes that you can't see, but nonetheless is what dictates perspective, right? People think they look through their eyes. They don't. They look through perspective. And when you see that if you're looking through that perspective, which you're oblivious to because it's behind what is evident, that's informing how you feel, the actions you take, and that world of fear in the future or whatever it is.
How would you get it, I guess, if you sat down with somebody and who was like, maybe they're in pretty good health, but they are like this biohacking, well, since we're here, we must use that example. This hard charging like person who's like, I've got my 10 devices to go to bed at night. I've got my other 40 devices to wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
How would you approach a conversation with someone like that? Of like, hey, buddy, maybe all these things. Because similarly, I've met so many people in that vicinity, even some of our own people that are close to us. They are, it seems like, replacing something with all of these things to do.
Yeah.
Because it blew my mind of like, when, or in my own personal experience, like when someone wakes up, you should be able to just get out of bed and you wake up and go about your day. But then it's like, well, no, if I don't do my morning routine that lasts 3.5 hours of time, my day is can be miserable. Yeah. So I'm curious how you would maybe even begin a conversation with someone like that.
Yeah, and it's a great question. I always, with anyone who might be struggling in whatever arena, we could say this is a good form of struggling, right? Because they're dedicated towards something, they're trying to better. For a lot of people, they're struggling because their circumstances are really shitty and they don't have money and they got just laid off from work or they're going through divorce. So without sounding flippant, the first response I have is no response, right? Because it's not for me to say anything until somebody engages in conversation.
Okay.
So, you know,
You wouldn't be like, hey, you.
No, never. Because you've got to understand the nature of the human ego is to defend itself. That's just there.
Yeah.
No one's doing it consciously, but if I go upstairs right now and point out some things that I could probably see quite clearly that would, in fact, contribute to the benefit and the optimization of their life, if I haven't been invited into the space, I'm going to be immediately met with resistance. That's just the nature of the human mind and the ego. So if the person was interested, if they came to me, and it reminds me of, I was on contract with a Major League Baseball team for many years, and I would come in periodically to work games and talk to players before. Yeah. And it was always fun, and guys loved to work with me, and they would typically see great results. But then I would go because I wasn't part of the team. I wouldn't travel with them for 162 games during the season, right? It's a long season. So the staff that was with them, the massage and the sports strength and conditioning guy, the head athletic trainer, they were always like, how can we try to integrate your work whilst you're not here? And collectively, we came up with this beautiful analogy. I said, you've just got to remember, like I just shared, unless somebody's asking for help, it's not for you to interrupt or intrude. And I said, it's like this. Imagine I'm the world's greatest interior designer, and cover of magazines, I'm renowned around the world, and I've got the best collection of furniture, from beautiful wood floors to whatever it is, right? If I went barging into somebody's house, knocked the front door down, and started just to pull all of their furniture out and pull up their the carpets and rip down their drapes and put in I'd get shot if in my, depending on which state I am in America, right?
Yeah.
So that would be like me telling, don't do this, do this, right? As a visual analogy. So I told them, if you do see someone, because in this case it's a sports team, they're charged with hopefully taking care of the players, you just ring the doorbell first. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, then you can see if you're invited in. And that's how the subconscious works. Like the door's locked for a lot of people, multiple doors, because they've been hurt enough times that there's sufficient amount of a barrier to entry. So I know, again, I didn't want to be flippant, but I just want to be honest. I don't tell people what to do. Now, if they're interested in working with me, like I just did 2 live events in London with close to 500 people showing up, and when I ask who would like coaching, all these hands go up, right? That's great. They're saying, come on in. I've got sandwiches and lemonade.
Yeah.
And, it's like a different
organic lemonade too.
Yes, I hope so. Otherwise, I'm not going to touch it.
Yeah.
So that's a whole different dynamic that I get to communicate with. So the person, ironically, to now come full circle to your question, who's doing all of those things, like you said, the 10, hacks before bed, the 20 when they wake up, they're probably not the person who's going to come to me anyway, because they're so entrenched in their routines until they realize that even those routines aren't working. So if you're doing something that's giving you a payoff and is working, chances are you're not seeking counsel. If they were doing that and they're getting adverse reactions or effects, they might start to look elsewhere. And that's oftentimes people find me now because, I've got a bigger platform, fine. But at the beginning, they've tried everything else. That's like Ayurveda, right? You eventually go to an Ayurveda doctor when you've been struggling with something for 5 to 10 years and you're like, none of this is working.
Yeah.
I'll try this crazy quack down the road.
Guy with the weird head wrap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I just like to be a space that's open without judgment. And if people want to have a conversation, I'm happy to lend what I see without saying it's gospel or it's, carte blanche, the only thing you can do. But maybe look at life through this lens and see what would happen.
Yeah, I think it's really true. If they don't invite it in, it's like you're talking to another layer of resistance.
Yeah,
on
brick
top
wall.
Of
it. Yeah.
The person doing those routines, but it is interesting because we watch. I've observed the biggest change in people when they actually change their framework or their belief, and even when I've seen them deal with the emotional side of it, probably more than any kind of supplement or thing that they've tried.
Yeah. For sure, hands down. It's the most powerful part of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still it's still fascinating of how I guess I'm still curious, like how to present that in a way. Is there a way, do you think, to present that to someone in a simple, concise way that would, and I'm asking this question, I mean, I feel like I know this myself.
Yeah.
Because I pay attention to these things, but if we were talking to a whole room of people even right now,
Yeah.
a way of describing, of bringing the focus to that and not getting so caught in these external like add-ons. Because we see it every day. People like still that when they first come to us, like our company, for example, does sell supplements.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's like an add-on. We don't emphasize that. It's like, hey, this can be a helpful thing as you're going down this journey. We try to stay away from that. Buy this first, and it will cure everything.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this can help.
Yeah.
But you still need to do this work.
Yeah. For
Which
sure.
comes down to you.
I think it's just the natural progression of consciousness as a whole, meaning as a species, right? Like we're now through things like this podcast, there's a million podcasts out there, and obviously a lot of them speak to this topic. So I think it's just the natural evolution of people waking up and going, oh, hang on a minute. I take all of these supplements, I do all of these things, I'm pretty consistent with my workouts, and yet I still have a rash, I still have hypertension, I still, struggle with my relationship, and maybe I want to look at the fact that I hate my dad and haven't spoken to him for 15 years. Maybe there's something in that. So I think people are starting to realize, when I started my kind of more out there career, where I was with websites and Instagram, one of my favorite quotes that I shared was by Marcel Proust, and he said that the journey of true discovery lies not in finding new lands, but in looking through new eyes. So I think when people start to listen to these fantastic philosophers of many, many decades ago, and they realize, oh, wait, there might be like the Joseph Campbells, like the cave that you fear to enter contains the treasure you seek, right? Like there's all these pointers to like, hang on a minute, maybe it's not in changing my diet. There's something deeper going on. And of course, therapy, psychiatry, that's been around for, decades. It's common practice, certainly in America, for people to have a therapist, right? So I hope like the likes of myself or some of my peers who are out there doing similar work, people are starting to see, hang on a minute, if I don't address what's going on between my ears first, everything else can be very supportive, but one of my, I guess, more popular distinctions I teach people is that if you don't free yourself, then you're going to just become the best version of your limited self.
Like another layer of like the box that they're already in. Like
if you're in a box, which everybody is, but you're just making the box prettier. And maybe more functional, and maybe at a perfect temperature. I don't know, but you're still in a box.
My ring says so. I'm at like 90.
Yeah. So you're taking the space that is being occupied by your soul, and you're making it as comfortable as you can, despite its overarching sense of limitation. What I'm interested in is busting the box open so that you step into a new experience of what it is to be alive, where you're not in conflict with life, you're not in a state of fear, you're not in a state of dis-ease, you're not resisting things, you have a newfound sense of connection, intimacy, affinity with your loved ones, you have a new sense of imagination and possibility for this incredible dimension that we live in. You start to feel an aliveness and a vitality that wasn't available to you before. You start to actually attract circumstances that are bringing more abundance and success, because you're no longer living in the world of like, I'm inadequate and this is too good to be true, right? So that to me is a much better way to go through this experience of being human.
Maybe slightly.
If you're into that shit.
If you're into that shit, right? I'm into feeling better and enjoying this experience.
But if you love staying in your little box and just have at it.
Yeah, I guess because that's probably the journey for some people. I guess that's what they've are chosen to give themselves as they move through.
And I just want to add, with all the compassion in the world, because again, to begin with, it was so obvious to me when I was seeing these things and then I realized, it wasn't my quote, but there's a great distinction which says there's none so self-righteous as the newly converted. Right?
Yeah.
So when you see something, it's like, oh my God, it's so fucking obvious. It's like, well, you didn't know that 10 minutes ago, so you might want to just get over yourself, right?
Yeah.
And then that's when I really started to have so much compassion, because the way I phrase it is, you can't be held accountable for that which you're oblivious to.
Mm-hmm.
And so that allows for us to have humanity in the fact that right now on the streets, if we walk out there, how many people are smoking a cigarette? Like, they don't know that that's bad.
Mm-hmm.
What they don't know is, why do they keep doing it? And they probably have a lot of guilt and shame about it, which is actually contributing to the energy of internal discontent and dissatisfaction and disease, which is a precursor to them needing a cigarette to try and get some relief. So they're in their vicious cycle of addiction, right?
Yeah.
But underneath it, there's a blind spot. They don't know why. Because from the age of 5, they thought that they weren't wanted in that family. They were a mistake. They're bad. And they, for now, 40 years as a person in middle management or running a company, are still trying to overcome what they can't overcome, because it's how they've defined themselves. And that internal sense of stress had led to eventually in their 20s a cigarette where they found, oh, just breathe for a minute. As contradictory as that is with smoking, but that's how they feel.
Yeah.
And then that became their go-to, their Pavlovian response to stress, but the stress can't go anywhere until they've mitigated the underlying sense of, I'm just a bad person and my parents hate me. But they'll take, patches they'll do hypnosis for smoking. So we want to have compassion for that person. And that's something that I find sometimes in the world of wellness and therapy and coaching can be, missing.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing the best they can within the limits of their current awareness.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and our YouTube channel. Go subscribe so you can always catch the next powerful, potent, and purposeful conversation with our next guest. Now, if you've been wondering how you can take your fascial maneuvers to the next level, join our coaching program. The link is down below. This will fill you in all the details to help others around you. Still continue to help yourself, but help your family and friends. And if you ever thought about doing this as a career, that is your best option and entry point. Go grab it below in the description and become a coach.
Do you think, I mean, I completely agree with that, but do you think, like, because you said something earlier about, like, kind of the idea of people, everyone in America has a therapist, right?
Not sure about everyone, but definitely a lot. Yeah,
but a lot. Yeah,
it's more.
Well, it's more than probably
in the UK.
It's like 90%.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say my viewpoint on first, because I'll take all the heat for it. I don't care.
Yeah,
because I personally don't feel like talk therapy, even though we're talking.
Yeah,
this feels completely different.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't feel like talk therapy itself is very effective.
Okay.
Like, I feel like because I've seen so many people, and maybe I'm wrong about it. I'm willing to be completely wrong about this, but I've just observed so many people going down the pathway of they've gone to somebody, they talk about, hey, this is going on in my life. They talk about it, and they get in a loop, and it seems like they're always slightly above what the actual maybe pain or the energetic pattern or whatever that traumatic thing or whatever that decision is that they made to look at their life through, like, the lenses that you're talking about, like how I view my world, that even though they go and talk to someone a lot about it, they do that for like five years of going to maybe a therapist.
Yeah.
I've even had friends who, every week they go, but I'm like, man, you're still kind of this person who's still struggling with these exact same things keep manifesting in their journey.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, do you I believe that this kind of work is very different than that.
Yes.
Because it feels like it's going in deeper, but I don't know if you could maybe speak to that, or maybe some of the clarification on
for sure
what separates that.
Yeah. And I again, without being dismissive, I think there's incredible therapists out there.
Yes.
But like in your arena of working with the human body more, like, how many people have spent thousands of dollars on body workers in every corner of the globe and maybe never seen any kind of benefit, right? So it sort of speaks to the level of expertise of the human being in whatever their chosen service or industry is. You could go to a farmer who's selling you a box of carrots or vegetables that is under the guise of this is healthy, but you don't know the degree to which he's using pesticide or their GMO seeds. And, you know, it's like, it's sad, but unfortunately one of the most common characteristics of a human being is to lie. Because when we're young, we learn to lie as a form of protecting ourselves because we don't want to be in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first thing is, yes, across the gamut of all human experiences, you're going to have people who are masters and you're going to have people who are, you know, criminals, all selling some sort of, you know, promise for a better future.
Mm-hmm.
So the best thing you can do, obviously, is you're going to learn through trial and error and you just have to trust your instincts. But I would say this is very different because I'm not giving people suggestions or advice. It's not my area of interest. I say I don't solve problems, I dissolve them. So I think talk therapy that you're speaking to is more a solution-based approach. You have anxiety, you have depression, here's what I suggest. So you're jumping into the hole that somebody's in, and you are maybe a little bit more proficient with dealing with that particular dissatisfaction, right? So someone has anxiety, oftentimes the therapist, the person who's helping has dealt with anxiety for a long time, so they know how to manage it. So we're in the same arena of dis-ease, but I know how to make it more comfortable. Is oftentimes the approach with any kind of expertise, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pulling the rug from beneath all of it, right? You only have anxiety because you don't know who you are, which is a conversation deep in your subconscious, which got formulated in the formative years of your childhood, and you just aren't aware of that. Once that's gone, anxiety dissolves versus me coming up with a solution-based strategy to deal with it, right? If you're giving somebody a coping mechanism or a program for any problem, you're actually subtly reinforcing the problem. Right?
Yeah.
So you have X, here's the prescription for X, therefore we just reinforced and strengthened X. I'm saying, no, there's nothing wrong with you. So let's find out what's between that realization, soul, which is free, and your problem, because there's something in between the two. Like, you know, comically, jokingly, tongue-in-cheek, I say the only problem you have is believing you have a problem. Or there's no such thing as a human with a problem. The human and the problem are one and the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm getting rid of people, as aggressive as that might sound. I'm taking people out in terms of their identities to realize, no, underneath the essence of how we've identified ourselves or the narratives with which we've become so synonymous that we can't even tell them anymore. But beneath that, the essence of who we are is founded in limitless, boundless, timeless perfection. I don't even like the word perfection, but just for the sake of helping people get it, you know, there's nothing wrong with you. And then there's a story that says there is. So that's why I think talk therapy doesn't necessarily, but not always, help, because typically the expert with all the best intentions in the world is trying to help the person with the problem. Which means you're meeting somebody at the level of their dissatisfaction.
So they're basically, I mean, what I hear you saying is they're basically still subtly reinforcing.
Sometimes not so subtle at all, you know. It's like, oh, you've really got a problem.
Keeping the problem in place.
Yeah. And so for me, I'm always, you know, I say to people, like, I can't give you something you don't already have, but I can help remove what's in the way of you realizing that. That to me is why my work, I think, is one of the pillars of why people find my work so moving and empowering, because I'm not saying I'm like this God sitting on a pedestal with all the answers.
Wait, you're not?
No, we got rid of that podcast. No, I just feel like my ability to help people is because I know there's nothing that I need to do other than remove what's in the way of what I see a being to be, which is no different than what people might be inspired by and seeing in me, which is, oh, you're so free and you're so happy and you're so at peace, and for your relative biological age, you're healthy and playful, and, you know, all the things that people might aspire to. I'm like, well, that's you. You're just seeing you in me. So let's just remove the shit that's in the way of you accessing that.
Yeah. So root, you're interested in the root, pulling that root. And you find once you pull that root, for most people, they're good, if we use that word, like they're now good? Or is it like, do you find people, even though maybe once you get them to pull that root, they still kind of try to maybe come back to it because it's so different?
It happens. And the older somebody is, the more ingrained those patterns are, even neurologically, in terms of like the way that their brains are wired. And so the older somebody becomes, the more we require compassion and understanding that, what I call residual self-image, right? So what that means is you've had a version of you that you've been familiar with, lived from, thought, felt, and acted as for 40, 50 years.
Wow, yeah.
And then you get this new impression of like, holy shit, who I thought I was is not who I am. That can be quite alarming and jarring. So it takes, a certain degree of finesse and being kind and soft with people, especially the older they get. When I'm working with younger people, I can be a little bit more direct because their evidence for their personality isn't as convincing.
Short, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when people tend to be older, or it can also be where the trauma of an event is more significant.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. It's like
right. So it's almost like you think about if you had, and I'm making this up on the spot, but if you had like a bucket of clay, if you just dropped like a little bit of a ball bearing or a marble on it, it would leave an indent, but it's not much, right? Versus you had someone who had a really strong punch and they punched into the clay, the impression that it makes is so much deeper.
Yeah.
So that would equate to a much bigger trauma. And so that person's both physiological, emotional, and psychological capacity to heal just physically needs more time. So when I'm sensing whatever the story is, this is all happening simultaneously, but I'm recognizing the severity of somebody's imprint, the duration of it, and the degree to which I feel they're really interested in letting go of it. Because some people say they are, but they're not. So there's a multitude of things that are going on simultaneously. If I'm working with somebody who's 50-something, they have a severe trauma, and they're actually trying to be self-righteous about it, it's probably not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. Do you have a way of navigating when you encounter that? Or do you just say, hey, until you're ready to invite this, it doesn't make sense for us to...
If somebody's not willing to like really be vulnerable, honest, because it also hurts, right? Because especially for your industry and working with the body, you've probably heard the book, The Body Keeps Score, right? So whatever it is we've been through, like it is stored. I'm sure I have plenty of stuff stored. As much as I have maybe reconciled and mitigated all of my fears and concerns, my body's going to have constraints.
Yeah.
How many of those are just behavioral? Because we sit and I've got short, psoas and calf muscles and my internal rotators in my shoulders because I'm typing and driving. How much of that is just behavioral and how much of my tissue systems and their tightness is because of some stored emotion that I have forgotten about. So that's where you have to, I like to see some visceral experience, and typically, and almost exclusively every time, somebody's breathing pattern is the first thing I see change, because that sort of that interplay between body and mind, right? The prana bridge between manas, we call it in Ayurveda, and then the annamaya kosha, or the body sheath. Like, it's like when the mind lets go of some concern, the body, through the bridge of the breath, can relax for a second. And so I see that instantaneously. So unless that actually transpires, if someone's just mentally, smart and they get what I'm saying, they'll get some relief and they'll start to try to implement it, but their body's still like this, right? Which you probably see all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, well, even I take myself example is like, I consider myself really smart.
Yeah.
Like I pick up on concepts like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
But then it's like, it's still living up in my brain.
Yeah.
I haven't actually embodied it. I haven't actually applied what that actually means or lived it out. So I think that, it's pretty common. People are like, oh yeah, I totally get what you're saying. Yeah, my life's gonna be great. But nope, you're still sitting slightly above what it actually is.
Yeah, it's another great quote where they say the mind creates the abyss and the heart crosses it.
Yeah.
So through the way we perceive ourselves, life, and others, there's this feeling of separation, which creates the predominant emotion of fear, which then puts us in sympathetic, and therefore the only strategy is to survive. That's the cascade of how most people live. And when you get out of that feeling of separation, you really start to recognize the unity and the interconnectedness of everything. Then you can recognize, wait a minute, my life might not be perfect or I subjectively want it, but it is the way it is, and I'm held in ways that I can't comprehend. So then I start to dissipate fear and tension, which is sympathetic to parasympathetic. My system relaxes and my physiology has to change.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's physics.
I mean, it's incredible how simple it is. The concept, I think it's the execution still comes for a lot of people.
Yeah, because people are wired to survive.
Yeah.
And typically for decades, it's like you don't just suddenly let go of that.
Where do you think the idea that everything needs to be so complicated in our societies come from? Do you feel like that's inserted from people who get a lot of knowledge and feel like they have to appear super smart? Because, right, I mean, to something as simple as like, hey, take a breath.
Yeah.
Just take a breath. I feel good. I feel connected again.
Yeah.
Or, hey, just feel what's here in this moment, because that's all there is.
Yeah.
But we talked about this in the beginning of the conversation, actually. It's like what's happening is here now, and learning to just feel into that is all there is, really.
Yeah.
But people still feel the need, well, it can't be that simple. It can't be that simple. Where do you think that comes from? Is that someone's trauma, or is that like been kind of put out there into the world? That you have to know all these things it can't be that easy. You have to go to an expert.
I think it's both. I think, it's collectively because this dimension of planet Earth, being human as an experience, as far as I'm concerned, is the cauldron of evolution. Meaning, I'm making this up, but there's another planet out there where you go to where no one's up, right? But we all came here because we thought we were.
Yeah.
Until we realize we're not. And they're like, okay, like I often joked with one of my clients, one of my baseball players, like if every planet represented a chain of hotels, right? And depending on the quality of who you are as a person with your resources and your self-worth, you choose a particular place to stay. So planet Earth is kind of like, in America we have a Motel 6, or it could be a DoubleTree, whatever it is. It's okay, might have some bed bugs, might not. It's like could have smoke stains in the carpet, might not.
But sheets might be cleaned once.
Yeah, you don't know, right? And people next to you are like doing whatever they're doing and keeping you up all night. But then, as you graduate through the different levels of constraint and inadequacy, you eventually end up at the Oman or the Four Seasons, where everything's just immaculate. So it's partly because we're here in this dimension, and this dimension is, as far as I'm concerned, the sole purpose of being human is to transcend the constraints with which we arrive to liberate the souls that we are. That's the game afoot. Why it becomes complicated is because people don't know about that game. I'm educating more people. They're playing the human game, which is, there's something wrong with me. I'm not safe. I'm not loved. So they've already created this delta, this disparity between who they are and what's really afoot. They're like, I'm being somebody I'm not. That creates disease, suffering. So from that place, the ego, which is built with all these limitations, insecurities, inadequacies, and scarcity, is now seeking for reconciliation of its own suffering. But you can't get there from here.
Yeah.
Right? So it becomes complex because the ways that people try to mitigate suffering become increasingly insidious, slippery, and complex. Right? So before, way back when, if somebody was having some sort of relationship problem, maybe in the Western times, meaning cowboy times, it was like, well, just slap the it's like, if your wife is acting up, maybe that was the solution,
Give her a gift.
Now, it's like, well, you can't even touch anyone in the workplace because you're going to be, kicked out for sexual harassment, right? Like it just gets more and more complicated. So, it's like understanding that as soon as you deviate away from the true essence of who you are, now that's not it. And if it's not it, you're going to look for it. but you can't find it from not being in it. If that that was super clear.
Yeah.
It's all about the it.
Yeah, it's all about the it.
You are it, but you're
Thank you, everyone,
thinking
for
you're
coming.
not it, so you're looking for it, but you can't look for it if you think you're not it, because you're not being it, which is you.
Yeah.
It's really, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I don't know what everyone's problem is.
Yeah. What's the
Yeah. So it's two completely distinct worlds. It really is. I mean, it's not, again, for me, it's so crystal clear that you can't generate the true, authentic experience of who you are from the fictitious version of you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's complex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's almost like everyone is taking on, here's my identity of me, Aaron, sitting here. But then I'm going to take on an identity of like, well, I've studied this other subject now for 4 years, and now I'm this other thing, but that's layered on top of me.
Yeah.
Essentially the me that's open and flowing and cool. This bad thing happened. Great. I'm not getting derailed by it. I'm feeling through it and experiencing it.
And using it as a catalyst to reveal who I am beneath it.
Yeah.
Right? It's like having a caterpillar, and the world has become increasingly clever, technically savvy, and more intelligent in learning how to add wings to the caterpillar to help it to fly. But it's still never going to be a butterfly.
Yeah. Man, what's your favorite quote of yours?
Of mine?
Yeah, I just thought
yeah, I always come back to life will present you with people and circumstances to reveal where you're not free.
Yeah.
Yeah, that to me is the whole game.
Like this idea, everything that's happening, even if I walk out right now and run into somebody in front of me, we start up a conversation.
Yeah.
You look at it as this is a person for me in this moment to show me something. Do you look at it that way, or is it
No, not always. I mean, most of it's like reading a book or watching a movie. Most of it's fluff, right?
Okay.
It's just fluff.
Yeah.
I mean, I take pride in the fact, even though I haven't finished it, I've been talking for about 15 years, my book will be super concise. Like, there's no fluff in my book, right? It's
so
just straight to the point. It's how I speak. There's no cutting around. There's no bullshit. This is your issue. If I'm ready to be tough and I feel that they're ready to receive, boom. If I need to be, as I said earlier, a little genteel and I have to be careful because this is somebody who's really in a state of trauma and they're very scared, fine, I'll take a slightly different approach, but it's still going to be a 15, 20-minute conversation, right? So for me, getting rid of the fluff and cutting to the core of what's at play is power. Now, when we walk around here and, well, that's funny. I went into the toilet and this guy didn't, say hi and I recognize him. Maybe that's because my dad hates me. It's like, I'm not sure there's not really a connection there. It's like, but the moments that really bring emotion to the surface, yes, they're worth looking at.
Yeah, I mean, if you got triggered by somebody.
Yeah.
Like if you walk in the bathroom and all of a sudden you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, so we really want to pay attention to the things that elicit a stronger emotion.
Okay.
That's the opportunity. Otherwise, for the most part, people are walking around and for the most part, most people are pretty oblivious. They're sort of unconscious, which itself is a reflection of their disconnect, right? Like to me, the most interesting human beings to be around are the ones that are truly present. They're just with you.
Hey, it's Aaron here. I know you've been listening to the podcast, digesting a ton of great information, and sometimes honestly can get overwhelming. So let's take a pause and a break together and reconnect into ourselves so we can have the most powerful human garage experience possible. So we're going to take 6 breaths together. Really simple, really easy to do. You can do this anywhere when you're going into an interview, going into a job thing. It'll help recenter you. So let's do it together. 6 breaths, 3 through the mouth, another 3 through the nose. Here we go. First breath. Second breath. And let it go. Third breath. And let it go. Now in through the nose. And let it go through your nose or your mouth, whichever you prefer. Fifth. And our last breath together. Let it go. There we go. Let's dive back in.
I don't know why this question just popped in my head. Do you ever, but I'm going to ask it.
Sure.
Do you ever find yourself having a bit of sometimes I'll use the word like fight with yourself, of where you're getting caught into your own way of looking at the world, that you feel like, maybe what I'm looking for is why this question popped in my head, is like where people start to frame someone as like, oh, you're my guru. You're a guru because you have all this knowledge, you have this information. Do you find yourself ever sometimes slipping into that energy of like?
No, it's something that I've really taken pride in again, which we could say is part of the ego, but like not in that way where it's like, hey, it's more like I just feel at peace with the fact that I know I'm no better than anybody else, nor am I worse than anybody else. Yeah. We're all just at different stages of our own evolution. And I just seem to be blessed through no conscious effort myself. Like, I can't even stake claim to the fact that I know this shit. Like the fact that I have that epiphany 6 to 7 weeks after the breakup, I didn't go, oh, I'm going to sit here and have some amazing, immaculate conception kind of realization. Like, no, it happened for me, Yeah. So I'm as much a beneficiary of life as anybody else. It just, for whatever reason, seems to be traveling through me in a way that it's facilitating other people's realization, for which I'm grateful. Yeah. So it's not about me, it's about the words, it's about the energy. If you, it's like falling in love with somebody, right? Yeah. If people become infatuated with me, they've missed the point. And that's nice in the human experience, fine, that people want to fly around the world and come and attend to an event, but just don't make it about me. I'm the vessel, I'm the vehicle, that's great. And it affords me a nice life, and I get stopped by people and they say really nice things and they want to take photos and they want to give me birthday cards. I'm definitely a beneficiary of that. Yeah. But I will never put myself in a position where it's all about me or it's only because of me. Yeah. No, as I said earlier, it's one of my quotes again. I say, and I haven't said this one for a while, but I'm glad it's coming to the surface now, which is, the only reason you need me is to show you that you don't need me. That's a very empowering stance to take. Yeah. Versus your friends who's going to therapy for, once a week for decades, but not really changing. Yeah. I would never take that money. Just won't. Yeah.
Do you have people like in intimate relationships that are close to you give you shit?
100%.
If they're like, yo, you should know this. Why are you reacting to me right now?
Yes. I mean, and I rely on that. And, the last year with my partner particularly has been super, educational, revelatory, beautiful, inspiring, humbling, to see, whilst even in our relationship, there's been so many things that she has benefited from. Yeah. I'm also on the receiving end of my own revelations, that's the beauty, I think, of relationships. Mm-hmm. So I'm a constant work in progress, and I don't for 1 minute proclaim or hope that I ever get to this point of nirvana where, white light's just coming through my asshole and I don't need to do anything, Yeah. It's like, then I probably have to see a doctor, but. Yeah.
Why is the light coming?
I'm more than happy to, and that's the beauty of life, right? Is I've never had this conversation with you. I've never been who I am today. And if, when I just had a birthday, 2 days ago, and I'm going to have another one, hopefully next year if I'm still alive, and then another one. And at some point I'm going to be, 60 and 70 and 80 and I'm going to have more employees, less employees. I'm going to live in a different part of the world. I might have some physiological, genetic thing that manifests that I couldn't have anticipated. So meaning that the whole tapestry of what it is to be human is in constant flux. Therefore, how can I ever rest on my morals that I know what the everything is? No, because this is a new moment. And to me, if you can approach life from that mindset, then you're always a novice. You're always a child. You're always in a state of exploration. Because the knowing mind is stuck in history. And that's where I feel people become stagnant and they become unavailable to life. So I hope I'm a perpetual student, because if you're alive, you have to be. Or you don't have to be, but you are. It's just whether you acknowledge it.
Yeah, you're not forced to. Well, I think it will eventually. If you don't take a look at it, it's going to keep whacking you until Well,
Yeah.
even then, maybe not, because some people seem not to ever pay attention to getting whacked
Yeah.
over and over again. It's like, hey, you could probably experience all this different if you just listen to yourself.
And that's the severity with which life delivers in the most compassionate way, because it will show subtle warning signs to begin with. But if you're not paying attention, you become increasingly numb, then those signs become increasingly significant, right?
Yeah.
It's a heart attack. It's a breakup that, involves, custody battles with children versus okay, if you'd paid attention 15 years ago that you're not actually listening to your partner, and maybe the fact that you're checking out other people on Instagram isn't the best conduit to intimacy and trust, Yeah. And now you've got mitigation and attorneys battling over your finances. But it's tough. If you imagine riding a bike, right? And you're riding a bike in a state of balance. We could say that's akin to being in harmony and present. But if you don't pay attention, there's both the slight leaning towards one side where you can become imbalanced.
Yep.
And then there's obviously the external world that's contributing, a pothole, a piece of trash that you hit, a flat tire, all the things, right? But if you just look at the physics of if a bike starts to keel over, now you require effort to come back. So the analogy of the bike doesn't work because eventually you get so low and so far away that you're going to fall, which is the trauma, right? Of not paying attention. But in the energetic world of psychology and emotion, you can keep going far, right? There's no actual physical falling off a bike. So this is the trouble for the human being, is the more that we drift away from our inherent nature, the harder it is to get back. Because you become so separated. And this is where real disease, the cancers of the world start to manifest. I'm no longer in harmony with the intelligence of the essence of who I am. And so it actually takes more dedication and discipline when you've got the least amount of resources.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge, right? And that's why maintaining as best as we can a consistent state of integrity, a consistent routine, dedication to whatever it is, diet and lifestyle, and having a free mind where you're not holding on to past frustrations, making people wrong, not living in a state of fear and anticipation or anxiety about a future that hasn't happened. Being here, staying balanced in this current moment is the degree to which we are in alignment and in a state of vitality.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Do you, because something you said earlier in that about and I actually really love that you have the ability to take humble pie. I've even watching your reaction when I asked about it. Do people give you shit?
Yeah.
Of oh, you're supposed to be this perfect guy. You're not supposed to have any issues anymore.
Yeah. No, I get
probably even
emotionally abused plenty.
Emotionally.
No, that's
hey, this is a safe space to relieve your. Oh, she's not listening right now.
No, that's dissipated. But yeah.
So, do you find when you get around, because you've coached also a lot of celebrities, things like that. Do you find that you have to sometimes push them through that, or are they usually in general kind of hey, I'm ready to let it all down and go in, or do you have to fight that kind of battle of they know it?
Sometimes, but less so now. I think just by virtue of the nature of life, as somebody and their work becomes a little bit more renowned or revered, how many artists out there right now in terms of musicians are just insanely talented.
Yeah.
Either in their ability to play an instrument, sing, the combination, the lyrics, their ability to, write that nobody knows about. Versus, I went to a concert last night with one of the biggest bands in the world. Are they that much better than perhaps thousands of musicians out there? Or is it just because for whatever karmic reasons, they have over the course of time proved the quality of their product, and now there's a collective agreement by millions of people that this is good and they can justify filling a stadium with 83,000 people?
Yeah.
So I think at the beginning of my career, there might have been a little bit more trepidation from somebody who doesn't, well, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And I think, I'm blessed with the fact that as things have become, more expanded in the world of social media, or people have heard me, or courtesy of podcasts like this, and people start to recognize, wait a minute, there's a track record of evidence.
Yeah.
So now when people sort of find me, it's typically, complete soul-bearing experience, right? Because I trust this guy. He's a safe space. He's worked with so-and-so who gives credibility. So I'm fortunate because I'm at a place in my career where, you never know where these things go, but at least at this point that people find massive amount of value in what I'm doing and it's transforming every arena of their life. I'm not like some sort of snake oil salesman, which I never was at the beginning, but equally people didn't know that. So there might be a little bit more apprehension.
Yeah.
So now I don't find that. No.
This guy's coming here to tell me that it's also simple to enjoy life.
Yeah.
What else is there? No, you just have to do, what else is there?
Yeah. Yeah. And there is what else in terms of the blind spots, right? You're smart. You take care of yourself. You run podcasts with God knows how many other great, speakers or masters of their own industry. So you've accumulated a lot of knowledge, but what does Aaron deal with that he doesn't know is beneath the surface?
Yeah. Aaron deals with quite a few things.
Yeah. Yeah.
beneath the surface.
Yeah. And that's the compassion part and where the willingness is there to investigate further, which I'm sure with you there is.
Oh,
and
Yeah. I love the idea of kind of digging into or figuring out like, whoa, that's interesting. Or I just got around, like even with my girlfriend, it's been an extremely revelatory, right way to say it? Revelatory.
Yeah.
I always say that there's certain words that no matter what I do, I always say slightly wrong.
No, you got that right.
Pause. I got that one good. Yay. But it's been sometimes eye-opening where, I thought, oh yeah, I handled that situation, or I moved past that. I've got it.
Yeah.
And then stuff comes up and I'm like, she's actually a Virgo.
Okay.
Kind of comically. And then Gary is super into astrology.
Okay.
Are you into astrology at all?
Yeah, I love it.
Like the mechanics. Yeah, he's a practitioner of all the mechanics of it. And he's like, let me tell you something right now. He's like, you can stay with this girl or you can break up. He's like, but my advice, stay with her because she's going to teach you all the lessons you need to know about in one.
Based on looking at the charts.
Yeah, looking at he did a whole like breakdown of the charts. And he's like, she's going to bring out all the stuff that you need to look at. Yeah. In relationship context with, female dynamics. And he's like, she's causing you problems now. He's like, but you're going to go find those problems later on with a bunch of different people.
Yeah, because it's your journey.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like, to help people whenever they're dealing with something that tends to become personified. There's this like arch enemy that people have in their family, their office, or it's because of that person, or on the positive, I'm so in love with this person, or I want to meet this person. Either way, I often say, don't make it about the person, just look at what life is showing you. Mm-hmm. So it's not that she's showing you something, but life is showing you. So it becomes impersonal.
Yeah.
So it's just a way of going, because if you associate it with that person, especially if it's love and they go, now people are devastated.
Yeah.
Right? But equally, if you were to say, well, no, she's a pain in my butt and she should, it's like, well, no, she's not. There's a certain contributing factor to it, but it's like whatever you're not able to be with is still your relationship to life.
Yeah. It's like waking up all those little tidbits of life, but it's life reflecting that back to me.
And it's ultimately me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number one, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
But just to wrap it up, we started doing these 5 rapid fire questions. So
okay,
let me pull up in my notes here.
I thought we might be twisting the other way and breathing.
We can.
No. Let's do 5 rapid and get out of it.
It's only that one way is the perfect way. No other way exists. Okay, so we've been testing these out of just doing 5 rapid fire to see what kind of people throw out there without thinking too much about their responses or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so number 1, my radio voice. What are you reading right now, if anything?
Nothing.
Okay, cool. Do you like? do you enjoy reading
I love
books
reading.
or stuff like that?
I'm reading through my own writing.
Yeah. So speaking of that, when are you going to finish your book?
Hopefully by the end of the year.
Because I've seen you say this on many podcasts of like you're like, hey, I'm working on my book.
Yes. Hopefully I will finish my part by the end of the year. But then there's the publishing process of 6 to 8 months. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe next year.
Yeah, that'll be out. But
okay.
Yeah.
That'll be exciting.
Yes.
I would love to read it and get it.
Me too.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
What do you think has been taken so long? Is it trying to distill it down into the simplest way, or has it been something?
I think a combination of things. Like even my work has become increasingly refined, and so I've trusted the process that the book that might have come out 5 years ago would have been relatively inferior to the one that's going to come out. So I like that.
Yeah,
so I think it's like life is asking me to just let the process unfold and trust that it'll come out at the right time.
Very cool. Okay.
Number 2.
These questions are, maybe we need to change some of them. What's a tool that you can't live without?
Breathing.
Perfect answer. Okay, so what's one of the first things, like say routine? Because I was like, guys, if we ask what's the first thing that someone does when they wake up, they'd be like, well, I have sex, I take a pee. But what is the first thing that you do when you wake up? Is it a routine? Is it something specific?
Breathe. No, you should go and take a pee.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have like any kind of, do you have an actual routine that you do? Like some people get up and they do their meditation.
But it's not consistent, especially when I'm traveling. But typically I would like, if there's one thing that I do consistently do is scrape my tongue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. How come? Why scrape?
Just to get rid of what's called armor, undigested food from the previous day. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. So that's 3.
Yeah.
Do you have any rituals that you do before you go to sleep?
Not really as a ritual. I try to get to bed at a decent hour before, and pizza time is 10 o'clock. Doesn't always happen. But as a ritual, I mean, I'm a Virgo. I like to be clean, so I always shower.
Okay. Use like filtered shower water?
Yes, ideally. Often RO water, yeah.
Yeah, we actually started carrying our own shower filters with us.
Oh, nice.
Which gets bonkers, and because you have to carry a wrench, because most of the time you can't get the hotel's thing else. You got to screw it off and put it on. But we started carrying our own just to have good water.
Okay.
Even when we shower.
And number 5.
The skin is the biggest organ.
Yes.
So if you could, what's one habit that you do also besides like say tongue scraping that you do to take care of yourself on a consistent basis?
Profound self-love and acceptance.
Beautiful. And I'm going to give you just like one, what's the last word you want to leave people with?
There's nothing wrong with you. Enjoy life. Recognize you are completely free, just pretending that you're not.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Peter, it's been a pleasure.
And likewise.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I think that was 4, but we'll leave that
5.
4. Oh, it was 5. Good.
Yeah.
My counting skills. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. It was awesome.
Appreciate it.